Hello everyone. So in this video, we'll be seeing how to identify variables and expressions and how do we write them in words. So this is going to be the lesson for today about variables and expressions. As we are already aware from our previous videos, what are the variables and how does an expression look, and also we know the main difference of an expression, that it does not have an equal sign. I have repeated this many times in the previous videos, so you have to be well aware of it by now. Okay, let's move on with this lesson and check what are the vocabulary words we have so that we can concentrate on them better. Most of these vocabulary words already you know them very well, such as variable. We know variable is a letter or a symbol that stands in place of a number, right? And it can change. Now, constant is the new word for you because we have never used it before, but we will learn about the meaning later on. A numerical expression, you know, it's an expression that contains only numbers. Algebraic expression, you know, it's an expression which has variables and numbers. And evaluate means only to simplify, solve. Evaluate means to just replace the value of the numbers and then solve them. So let's move on and check each of the meanings of these vocabulary words in detail. So a variable is a letter or a symbol used to represent a value that can change. So we all know very well that a variable is a letter. Okay, it can stand for any letter from A to Z, or a symbol. For example, it can stand for a blank, or it can stand for a star, or any symbol, okay, used to represent a value. So it represents a value, it represents a number in fact, but it can change. The next vocabulary word you have is constant. A constant is a value that does not change. Now there are some questions which they give you and the value does not change. For example, 3 plus 8. So 3 is 3. 3 cannot change, but yes, 8 can change. So that's where they say a constant is a value that does not change. Constant basically means it's something which doesn't change, constant. So it's a value that does not change. Next one is a numerical expression. Numeric means numbers, and you know that numeric expression contains only constants and operations. Okay, so constants in the sense you can have a number, yeah, because they don't change. So that's what they mean. It has numbers and operations. Operations means the plus, minus, multiply or divide sign. Then we have the algebraic expression. It contains variables such as the letters or symbols, or constants that are the numbers, and operations as well. Operations are the 4 basic operations: plus, minus, divide or multiply. So these are the words you need to remember. A variable is a letter or a symbol that can be changed. A constant is a value that does not change. Numeric expression, it has only constants, that is only numbers and the operation. Then algebraic expression has variables as well as constants as well as operations. Okay, now let's move on and see the important part of this lesson. How do we write mathematical operations in words? Now, we know that the 4 mathematical operations, we just call them plus, minus, subtract, plus, minus, divide or multiply. But rather, other than these 4 words, there are also some other words which you can use when you have to write the mathematical operations in words. So let's see one by one. What are the words we can use, and what are the other methods we can use to say these mathematical operations? Okay, now as we know, these are the 4 mathematical operations we have: plus, minus, multiply and divide. Now, exploring one by one. Let's start with the first one, which is add. Okay, so what are the words we can use, or what are the ways we can say these other than plus? Okay, these are some only the basic ones I'm giving you, but there are more ways to say other than these two. So the basic ones we can say is plus, sum, or increased by. Now, what do I mean by you can use these words plus, sum, or increased by? Let's see an example. This algebraic expression here says a plus 5. So what are the ways we can say or we can write in words? one way you can say is a plus 5, as we normally how we would read it, a plus 5. Or using the other word sum, we can say it as sum of a and 5. Okay, this is how we read when we use the word sum. Then using the word increased by, we can say a increased by 5. Now again, I'm repeating, these are the basic ways which I have, some of the basic ways which I have chosen, but there are more than these ways you can use. For example, you can even say a added to 5 or 5 more than a. There are many ways to say this, but these are some basic words which I have chosen here, the 3 basic words. Okay, so hopefully this is clear how to write an expression using the words plus, sum, and increased by. Okay, let's move on to minus. Very famous minus, we just say minus, right? Okay, so we can use the words minus, or we can use the word difference, or we can use the word less than. Now again, these are some very basic words or terms which I have used. There are many other ways too. Okay, so let's see how can we write this expression using these words. So the first one is easy, just how we have been always saying, 4 minus n. Okay, then the other word you can use is the word difference. So we can say difference of 4 and n. You cannot say 4 difference n, right? Sorry, 4 difference n. So you have to say difference of 4 and n. Then the word using the words using less than, you can say n less than 4. Never use the words 4 less than n. That means it will be n minus 4. So you have to be extra cautious or extra careful when you're using the word less than, as the symbol or the number which is behind comes first. So when you use the word less than, always remember that a variable or the number which is behind comes first. Okay, so when you have to be very careful when you're using the word less than. You have to say n less than 4, not 4 less than n. Because if you say 4 less than n, the expression will change. Okay, now let's move on to multiplication. Now for multiplication, there are very limited words. You can use the words times, product of, or multiplied by. So these are the 3 words you can use, but I did not use the 3. I just took the like the suitable ones, whereas times and product of. So let's see how do we write an expression in words using these uh, terms. So we usually say 3 multiplied by m. There is nothing wrong even if you write it as 3 multiplied by m, but in a better way it will be 3 times m, or product of 3 and m. Okay, so you can even say 3 multiplied by m, as I told before. It's not wrong, but this is in a proper way. You can say 3 times m, or the product of 3 and m. Okay, the next one is divide. Now as for multiplying, also for divide, there are very limited words. We can say either divided by or the quotient of. So there are no other ways we can say except by using the words divided by or quotient of. So let's see, how can we read this word expression? We can say it as j divided by 9. Okay, this is one way of reading an division expression. Or you can say quotient of j and 9. So these are only 2 ways we can use for dividing and dividing an expression. So you can pause the video here and you can write down these important words, because you'll be using them throughout this lesson as we go on. So in this video for today, you will be only learning how to write the mathematical operations in words. So you can just write these words down so that it will be helpful in the lesson. So let's move on and check. Let's practice some more, keeping those words in mind. Okay, now the first expression here is for minus. So what are some ways you can use? We have learned many. I mean, at least 3 terms we have learned from the previous slide. So 4 minus n you can say, or you can say as 4 decreased by 9n, or you can even say the n less than 4, or even you can say the difference of 4 and n. So I have just shown you 2 ways here. You can use any way, even by using from previous slides. So these are just two ways. You can, even if you say for the difference of 4 and n, it's not wrong, it is right. So there are many ways to say that. These are just two ways which I have chosen. You can use any other ways you want to. The next one, which is, as you can see, it is a dividing expression. So we can say it as t divided by 5, or the quotient of t and 5. So you can use any one of those words and you can say, write the expression in words. So it has to be the quotient of t and 5 or t divided by 5. Okay, now moving on to this. One way we can say this as the sum of 9 and q. Sum means the answer of addition, right? So the sum of n and q, or you can say it as 9 added to q added to 9, 9 added to q. It's all right. Now as for adding and subtraction, you have many ways to read it. Only for multiplication and division there are limited words. So however you read in a proper way, not that you can read them any way you want to, in a proper way, if you read whichever way you read, it is going to be right for addition and subtraction. Okay, next one, you can see it is 3 multiplied by h. So what is one way you can read? You can say it as the product of 3 and h, or you can say it as 3 times h, or you can even say it as 3 plus h. Sorry, 3 times h, or 3 multiplied by h, or the product of 3 and h. So there are 3 ways to read multiplication expressions. There are 2 ways to read division expressions, and numerous ways to read the subtraction and addition expressions. So that's all for today. Hopefully this video was useful to you. So do like the video and share it among your friends if anyone of you know is learning the same lessons. And also don't forget to subscribe. So until we meet again in another video, keep practicing and learning math.